The day the aliens came changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning when the massive ship appeared in orbit around Earth. No warnings, no messages, just a giant vessel hanging in the sky like a new moon. John Carter watched the news from his apartment in Washington, D.C. As a former Marine who now worked security for diplomats, he knew he would be called in soon. His phone rang within minutes. "Carter here," he answered. "Report to headquarters immediately," said his supervisor. "Pack for at least a week." 3 hours later, John stood in a hastily assembled meeting room with 20 other security personnel. The Secretary of State entered, followed by a tall, gray-haired man. "This is Ambassador Gregory Simmons," the Secretary announced. "He will represent Earth in our first contact with the alien delegation. You've been selected as his security team." "Ambassador," Simmons looked tired but determined. "The aliens call themselves the Galactic Council. They've requested a meeting on neutral ground. A new facility they're constructing in Colorado. We leave in 2 hours." On the flight to Colorado, John sat next to Lisa Wright, a xenobiologist who had been studying theoretical alien biology for years. "I never thought I'd actually meet aliens," Lisa said, her voice a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Years of theory, and now I'll see the real thing." John nodded. "Just stay behind me if anything goes wrong." Lisa smiled. "They crossed light years to get here. If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already." The facility appeared as they flew over the Rockies, a perfect dome of shimmering material that hadn't been there the day before. Their plane landed on a newly created airstrip. As they stepped out, John felt something odd. "The air feels different." Lisa checked a handheld device. "They've adjusted the atmospheric composition slightly. It's still safe for us, but probably closer to what they breathe." The American delegation walked toward the dome. As they approached, a section of the wall simply disappeared, creating an entrance. Inside, the lighting was softer than Earth sunlight, with a slight purple tinge, and there they were, the aliens. John's first thought was that they looked like tall, thin deer walking on 2 legs. Their skin was pale blue, and they had large, dark eyes that seemed to take in everything. 4 of them waited, wearing flowing garments with intricate patterns. One stepped forward. "I am Zartal, representative of the Galactic Council. We welcome Earth to the greater community of spacefaring species." Ambassador Simmons stepped forward. "I am Gregory Simmons, representing the United Earth Nations. We are honored by your visit and eager to establish peaceful relations." The meetings continued for days. John stood guard as the diplomats talked, watching the aliens carefully. He noticed they moved slowly and deliberately, seeming to find even the simple act of walking around the room tiring. On the 3rd day, the conversation took an unexpected turn. "We have analyzed your world," Zartal said. "We are concerned." "Concerned?" Ambassador Simmons asked. "About what?" "Your planet is what we classify as a death world," Zartal replied. "High gravity, extreme temperature variations, dangerous, levels of oxygen, intense radiation from your sun, aggressive microorganisms, natural disasters. We did not expect intelligent life to evolve in such conditions." Lisa leaned forward. "Those conditions are normal for us. Our biology evolved to thrive in this environment." The aliens exchanged looks that John couldn't interpret. "Please," Zartal said suddenly, "would one of your security personnel step forward?" After a nod from the ambassador, John stepped forward. "May I?" Zartal held out a device. John nodded, and the alien passed the device over him. "Remarkable," Zartal said. "Your muscle density is 3 times ours. Your bone structure could withstand impacts that would shatter our skeletons. Your reaction speed—" The alien paused. "You are built for a world that would kill most species in minutes." John wasn't sure how to respond. "We're just normal humans." "No," Zartal said. "You are Deathworlders, and that complicates things." 2 weeks later, John found himself on a massive space station orbiting a star he didn't recognize. The human delegation had been invited to present their case to the full Galactic Council. The journey had taken only days thanks to alien technology that bent space itself. The station was enormous, with sections adapted to different atmospheres, gravities, and temperatures for various species. But even in the Earth-like section, John felt wrong. The gravity was too light, making him bounce slightly when he walked. The air felt thin. Lisa explained. Most intelligent species evolved on worlds with lower gravity and oxygen levels. This is their compromise for us, but it's still closer to their norm than ours. The council chamber held representatives from 27 species. Some looked almost human, others like nothing John had ever imagined. Floating gas bags, crystalline structures, tentacled creatures in liquid tanks. Ambassador Simmons presented Earth's case for joining the galactic community, showing human achievements in art, music, science, and philosophy. When he finished, a reptilian alien spoke. The humans come from a Class 10 death world. No current member evolved in conditions above Class 7. They are naturally stronger, faster, and more durable than any of us. Their history shows constant warfare. They are predators, not peaceful grazers like most members. We have moved beyond our violent past, Ambassador Simmons argued. We come in peace. Perhaps now, said another alien, this one resembling a giant insect. But what happens when you spread to other worlds? Your natural advantages would make you dominant wherever you go. The debate continued for hours. John watched as the council members became increasingly agitated. Finally, Zartal spoke. I have visited Earth. Yes, they are Deathworlders. Yes, they are physically imposing, but they have achieved art, music, compassion. They care for their young, their sick, their elderly. They are not simply predators. The chamber fell silent. I propose a compromise, Zartal continued. Earth will be admitted to the Galactic Council, but with restrictions. Limited access to certain technologies. Controlled expansion to other worlds. Monitoring of their military capabilities. The vote was close, but Earth was admitted. As they left the chamber, John asked Ambassador Simmons, is this a victory? The ambassador sighed. It's a beginning. They fear us, John, not because of what we've done, but because of what we are. Lisa joined them. They evolved on gentle worlds. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. Of course they're afraid. John looked around, at the aliens passing by, noticing how they gave the humans a wide berth. Will they ever trust us? That, said the ambassador, will depend on what we do next. 6 months after Earth joined the Galactic Council, Daniel Ross stood in his small trading shop on Traxxas Station. The artificial gravity made his joints ache, set too low for his earthborn body. But the discomfort was worth it. Business was booming. Daniel watched as an alien with purple skin and 6 limbs examined a simple pocket knife. The alien, a Vexaran trader named Klvex, turned the knife over carefully, as if holding something dangerous. This is made for human hands? Klvex asked. Just a basic tool, Daniel said. Every kid on Earth gets one for camping. Klvex's large eyes blinked rapidly. Amazing. The metal quality alone would cost 10 times this on my world. And you say, children use these? Daniel nodded. He had discovered this opportunity by accident. The Galactic Council had placed strict limits on human technology, fearing Earth weapons, but they hadn't restricted simple tools, clothing, or food. Items humans considered ordinary were treasures to species from easier worlds. I'll take 20, Klvex said. And what about those boots you mentioned? In another part of the station, Olivia Bennett watched alien soldiers train. As a military strategist, she had been sent to learn about alien combat techniques. What she saw shocked her. The aliens moved in perfect formation, their weapons advanced beyond Earth technology. But their movements were slow, their tactics straightforward. There was no improvisation, no urgency. They fought like they had all the time in the world. They've never needed to fight for survival, Olivia realized. Species from gentle planets had never faced predators or harsh conditions that forced split-second decisions. Olivia made notes on her tablet. The aliens had better technology, but humans had something they lacked: Instinct, the drive to survive against all odds, the ability to make hard choices in seconds. Meanwhile, in a workshop hidden behind fake walls in his quarters, Frank Howard modified a standard Earth flashlight. The Galactic Council banned advanced human technology, fearing weapons development. But Frank had found loopholes. He replaced the normal bulb with one that focused light in a tighter beam. Not powerful enough to be a weapon, but bright enough to temporarily blind most alien species, whose eyes had evolved under dimmer suns. Frank didn't consider himself a weapons maker. He was just helping humans level the playing field. The aliens had faster ships and better computers, but humans needed advantages too. Just tools, he muttered to himself. Self-defense tools. 3 levels down, at the station's main dining area, a problem started. A human woman accidentally bumped into a tall, thin alien with delicate limbs. The collision, barely a nudge to the human, sent the alien crashing to the floor. "I'm so sorry," the woman said, reaching down to help. The alien screeched in a high-pitched voice. "Don't touch me, Deathworlder." Station security arrived quickly. The alien was injured. What would be a bruise for a human was a fracture for the lighter-boned species. Word spread quickly among the station's alien population. Humans were dangerous even by accident. Some businesses began posting signs. No humans allowed. Daniel learned about the incident when Klvex visited his shop the next day. "Bad news," the alien said. "The council representatives on the station are discussing new restrictions for humans." Daniel frowned. "Because of an accident?" "She didn't mean to hurt anyone." "Intent doesn't matter," Klvex said. "Results matter. A species that can harm others by accident is still dangerous." That evening, Daniel, Olivia, and Frank met in Daniel's shop after closing. They had formed a friendship as some of the first humans on the station. "They're afraid of us," Olivia said. "I see it in training. They watch me like I might snap at any moment." Frank nodded. "My alien neighbors moved out yesterday. No explanation." "Klvex says the council might restrict human movement on the station," Daniel added. "Maybe even throughout council space." They sat in silence, feeling the weight of being outsiders. "We need to prove we're not a threat," Daniel finally said. "How?" Frank asked. "By being weaker? By pretending we aren't what we are?" Olivia shook her head. "No. By showing we can control our strength, by being better than they expect us to be." The next week, Daniel organized a cultural exchange. Humans demonstrated Earth cooking, music, and art. Frank showed alien children how to make simple Earth toys. Olivia taught gentle exercises adapted from Tai Chi. For a while, it seemed to work. Some aliens started visiting Daniel's shop again. Frank made friends with engineers from 3 different species. Olivia was invited to observe more training sessions. Then news came from the Galactic Council Central World. A group called the Purity Alliance had gained influence. They argued that Deathworlders were a contamination that would eventually destroy the peaceful galactic community. They wanted Earth quarantined. "It's not fair," Daniel said as he shared the news with his friends. "We've done everything right." "Fear isn't rational," Olivia replied. "And they fear what we represent." Frank had been quiet, but now he spoke. "I heard something else today. A human colony is being established on a planet near the edge of Council space, Proxima b." "A colony?" Daniel asked. "The Council approved that?" "Barely," Frank said. "It's a test case. If humans can live peacefully on another world, it helps our case." "And if something goes wrong?" Olivia asked. No one answered. They all knew what was at stake. 2 months later, Daniel closed his shop. He had sold everything, using the profits to buy passage on a ship to Proxima b. Frank and Olivia were already there, helping establish the colony. As Daniel packed his few remaining belongings, Klvex visited. "You are making a mistake," the alien said. "Proxima b is too close to Varn space. The Varns are not part of the Council. They raid border worlds." "The Council approved the location," Daniel replied. "Politics." Klvex made a gesture of disgust. The Purity Alliance wanted humans far from core worlds. They didn't care about your safety. Daniel paused. Are you saying they put us in danger on purpose? I'm saying, Klovex chose his words carefully, that some would not be sad if the human experiment failed. As Daniel boarded the transport ship the next day, he saw military vessels in the distance. Not Earth ships, Council ships, moving away from the station. Where are they going? He asked a crew member. Patrol duty, the alien replied. But strange timing. Most patrols go toward Varn space, not away from it. Daniel felt a chill as the ship pulled away from the station. He tried to dismiss the feeling but couldn't shake the sense that humans were being set up to fail. On Proxima B, the human colony grew quickly. But beyond the brightness of their new settlement, darkness was gathering. And in that darkness, eyes watched, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Proxima B colony grew quickly. After 6 months, 5,000 humans called it home. They built simple structures, planted earth crops in the alien soil, and began to create a new life far from their home world. Commander Susan Miller stood, on the edge of the settlement, looking out at the rolling hills beyond the perimeter fence. As head of colony security, she had only 30 trained personnel and basic weapons. The Galactic Council had strict limits on what humans could bring to their new world. Beautiful sunset, said a voice behind her. Susan turned to see Daniel Ross, walking toward her. He had arrived 3 months ago and set up a trading post that brought goods from passing ships. Yes, it is, Susan agreed, though I still miss Earth's blue sky. The purple grows on you, Daniel said. He hesitated, then added, Any word from the Council about our defense request? Susan shook her head. They say we don't need more weapons, that this region is peaceful. Daniel frowned. My friend Klovex warned me about this area. It borders Varn territory. The Council insists the Varns haven't raided in this sector for years. Let's hope they're right, Daniel said. That same day, on a space station 6 light-years away, Kyle Jenkins was finishing repairs on an environmental system. He was one of few humans working on Station GX-12, a trading hub for a dozen species. As Kyle sealed the access panel, his communication device buzzed. It was Peter, another human engineer. Kyle, you need to get to the human quarters. Now. Why? I'm not done here. Just come. Something's happening. When Kyle arrived at the human section, 20 people were gathered around a view screen. On it, a human diplomat named William Harrison was speaking from the Galactic Council headquarters. We have received disturbing reports, William said. A faction calling themselves the Purity Front has broken from the Council. They believe all Deathworlders should be removed from Council space. The room fell silent. They have ships, weapons, and support from several species. William continued. We are trying diplomatic channels, but all humans should be on alert. Contact your nearest Earth representative for evacuation procedures. The screen went black. Evacuation? Someone muttered. There are only 50 humans on this station. The nearest Earth ship is days away. Kyle felt cold fear in his stomach. He had seen how some aliens looked at humans, with fear, disgust, or hatred. If they decided to act on those feelings, the station's alarm system blared suddenly. Red lights flashed. Attention all station residents, a voice announced. Unknown vessels approaching. Security protocols activated. All residents report to designated safe areas. The humans looked at each other. Their designated safe area was right where they stood, the human quarter. We're isolated here, Kyle said. If someone wanted to target just humans, he didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. On Proxima B, the attack came at night. Susan was awakened by an alarm. She rushed to the command center where her security team was already gathering. 3 ships entered orbit 10 minutes ago, her lieutenant reported. No response to communications, they're launching smaller craft now. Susan looked at the scanner. The ships were like nothing in the Council database. Wake everyone, she ordered. Move them to the central shelter. Outside, the first explosions hit the colony's perimeter. Susan organized her small security force, distributing the limited weapons they had. Hold them at the edge of the settlement, she ordered. Buy time for the civilians to reach the shelter. The attackers came on foot after their initial bombardment. Tall, scaled creatures with 4 arms, each holding different weapons. They moved with purpose, targeting the colony's power systems and communication array first. Susan's team fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. They fell back, street by street, building by building. In the shelter, Daniel helped organize the frightened colonists. He had been through combat zones as a trader and knew what to do. "We need weapons," he told Frank Howard, who had arrived, with a group from the science building. "The council didn't let us bring many," Frank replied. Daniel looked around the shelter, at the tools, the equipment, the everyday items. "Then we make our own." At Station GX-12, the situation was deteriorating. Quickly, the attacking ships had docked and armed boarders were moving through the station. Kyle and the other humans barricaded themselves in their quarter. They could hear weapons fire getting closer. "They're targeting specific areas," Peter said, watching, a security feed he had hacked into. "The Brill section is untouched. So is the Moravian quarter." "Just the humans?" someone asked. "And anyone who helped humans," Peter confirmed grimly. Kyle looked around at the scared faces. He had worked with machines all his life, not weapons. But now, "The maintenance tunnels," he said suddenly. "They run throughout the station. We can use them to move around without being seen." "And do what?" Peter asked. "Get to the station's systems," Kyle replied. "We might not have their weapons, but this is a station. Life support, gravity, doors, everything can be controlled." On Proxima B, the battle had reached the colony center. Susan and her remaining security personnel made their final stand before the shelter entrance. "We can't hold much longer," her lieutenant said, firing at the advancing attackers. Inside the shelter, Daniel and Frank had organized a desperate defense. They had created makeshift weapons from tools and equipment, mining lasers reconfigured, kitchen equipment turned deadly, pressurized containers made into bombs. "These won't stop military weapons," Frank warned. "No," Daniel agreed. "But we're not soldiers. We're survivors." When the shelter door finally breached, the attackers thought they would find cowering civilians. Instead, they met a fury they hadn't expected. Humans fought with improvised weapons, with tools, with their bare hands if necessary. What the attackers didn't understand, what the galaxy was about to learn, was that humans from Earth were shaped by millions of years of survival on a world that tried to kill them daily. When pushed to their limits, that evolutionary heritage emerged. The colonists took losses, but they made the attackers pay for every step. On Station GX-12, Kyle led a group through the maintenance tunnels to the Environmental Control Center. "What's your plan?" Peter whispered as they reached the access point. Kyle took a deep breath. "We're from a high-gravity world with thick atmosphere." "They're not." Understanding dawned on Peter's face. "You'll kill everyone on the station," he warned. "No," Kyle shook his head. "Just section by section, starting with the sections where the attackers are. We'll give warnings to the others." It was brutal but effective. The attackers found themselves in corridors where gravity suddenly doubled, where air thinned to levels that made them gasp while humans could still function. Both on Proxima B and Station GX-12, the galaxy learned a lesson about humans that day. When pushed to the edge, Deathworlders became something terrifying, resourceful, relentless, and nearly impossible to stop. By the time Council peacekeeping forces arrived days later, it was over. The attackers, revealed to be a radical purity, Front faction, had been defeated, but the cost was high for both sides. And across the galaxy, news spread of what humans were capable of when they had no choice but to fight. News of the attacks spread across human space like wildfire. Earth governments, once divided by old rivalries, united under the new threat from the stars. Emergency sessions were held in every major capital. Military reserves were activated. Ships were recalled from distant posts. Admiral Elaine Cooper stood before the newly formed Human Defense Council, her face grim as she addressed the gathered leaders. "The attacks on Proxima B and Station GX-12 were just the beginning," she said. "Our intelligence suggests the Purity Front is growing in power. More species join them each day." "What about the Galactic Council?" asked one of the leaders. "They promised to protect us." "The Council is divided," Admiral Cooper replied. "Some members condemn the attacks. Others quietly support the Purity Front. We cannot depend on alien protection." "So what do we do?" another leader asked. "We have fewer ships, older technology. We can't win a direct war." Admiral Cooper nodded to her assistant, who displayed a series of images on the large screen. "We don't fight the way they expect," she said. "We use what makes us different, what makes us human." In a research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Ryan Mitchell watched as his team tested a new weapon design. It looked simple, almost primitive by alien standards. But that was the point. Again, Ryan ordered, the test subject, a piece of alien hull material obtained through trade, shattered as the weapon fired. The technology wasn't advanced, but it exploited weaknesses in alien materials that evolved in low-gravity environments. Ryan had been an engineer designing farm equipment before the attacks. Now he led a team creating weapons that the aliens wouldn't expect or understand. "It works," one of his team members said. "But it's so basic. The aliens have energy weapons, shields." "Yes," Ryan agreed. "And they expect us to try to match them, to build the same kinds of weapons they use. They don't expect this." In another part of the facility, Dr. Samantha Lewis studied biological samples from various alien species. As a xenobiologist, she had once dreamed of learning about alien life. Now she searched for weaknesses. "Look at this," she told her colleague, pointing to a cellular structure on her screen. "The Treven have specialized cellular functions. Every cell has one purpose, optimized for their environment." "Is that important?" her colleague asked. "It means they can't adapt quickly," Samantha explained. "Humans have cells that can change, function when needed. It's why we can survive in so many conditions. The Treven can't." She moved to another sample. "And the Korla have perfect night vision, but their eyes are extremely sensitive. A flash that would temporarily blind a human would cause them severe pain." One by one, she categorized the specializations that made other species efficient in their home environments but vulnerable outside them. Humans, having evolved on a world that changed constantly, had developed adaptability instead of specialization. It was their greatest strength. At the Galactic Council headquarters, William Harrison worked tirelessly to maintain diplomatic channels. Few alien representatives would meet with him now. Those that did kept their distance as if humanity were a disease they might catch. "Counselor Viernax will see you now," an aide finally announced after William had waited for hours. Viernax was one of the few council members who still advocated for humanity. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, he greeted William with the formal gesture of his species. "I have little time," Viernax said. "The council chambers are not safe for either of us right now." "Then I'll be direct," William replied. "Is the council planning to support the quarantine of Earth?" Viernax's skin darkened slightly, a sign of distress in his species. "Not just quarantine. Some are calling for more permanent solutions." William felt cold fear grip his heart. "You mean genocide?" "They would not use that word," Viernax said softly. "They would call it preventative security or evolutionary correction. But yes, some believe humanity is too dangerous to exist among the stars." "Because we defended ourselves?" William asked, anger rising in his voice. "Because of how you defended yourselves," Viernax answered. "The survivors of the attack speak of humans fighting with unnatural strength, continuing to fight despite injuries that would incapacitate any reasonable being. They say you used the station itself as a weapon on GX-12. We did what we had to do to survive." "I understand that," Viernax said. "But others see only the danger you represent. A species that can adapt to any situation, that instinctively turns anything into a weapon, that refuses to surrender even when logically defeated." He paused. "They fear what you might become if truly threatened." Back on Earth, the preparation continued. Every factory was converted to produce what was needed. People trained, prepared, adapted. Systems were hardened against attack. Underground shelters were expanded. The old survival instincts of humanity awakened fully. Admiral Cooper reviewed the latest defense plans with her staff. "We can't match them ship for ship," she explained, "so we fight differently. Small, fast vessels, hit-and-run tactics. We use the terrain of our solar system, the asteroid belts, the radiation fields near Jupiter, the rings of Saturn." "Guerrilla warfare in space," one of her officers said. "Exactly." Cooper nodded. "We make them fight on our terms, in conditions that favor our adaptability." As the Admiral spoke, alert systems across Earth suddenly activated. Emergency messages flashed across communication channels. Space monitoring stations reported multiple signatures entering the outer solar system. The Admiral's communication device buzzed urgently. She answered, listened briefly, her face hardening. "It's happening," she announced to her staff. "Long-range sensors detect a fleet approaching from the direction of the galactic core. Hundreds of ships." "The Galactic Council?" someone asked. "No," Cooper replied grimly. "The energy signatures don't match Council ships. This is something else." On screens across the command center, the incoming fleet appeared as dots of light, moving with purpose toward Earth. "How long do we have?" asked her second-in-command. "At their current speed, 5 days until they reach Earth orbit." The Admiral looked at the faces around her, scared but determined. Humans had faced extinction-level threats throughout their evolution. It was built into their DNA to fight, to survive, to adapt. "Send the alert to all ships and colonies," she ordered. "Activate Defense Plan Delta, and contact our friends in the Council. Tell them—" She paused. "Tell them that humanity is about to show the galaxy exactly what Deathworlders are capable of when fighting for their home." As the message went out, the first human defense ships moved into position. Among them was the newly commissioned Vessel Defiance, commanded by Captain Alan Peterson. It would be the first human ship to engage the alien fleet, the first test of whether humanity's desperate strategies could work against the overwhelming force heading their way. Captain Alan Peterson stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching as the alien fleet approached. His ship was positioned at the edge of the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, hidden among the floating rocks. "All systems quiet," reported his second officer. "They haven't spotted us yet." Alan nodded. The Defiance wasn't large or powerful by alien standards, but it was fast and carried weapons designed by Ryan Mitchell's team, weapons that exploited alien weaknesses. "Remember," Alan told his crew, "we hit fast and disappear. No heroics, no extended engagements." The alien fleet moved with confidence, their massive ships arranged in perfect formation. At their center was a vessel twice the size of the others. Sensors identified it as the command ship. "That's where High Commander Zexatral will be," Alan said. Intelligence had identified Zexatral as the leader of the coalition against Earth. The aliens believed they were launching a surprise attack. They didn't know that human scouts had detected them days ago, that Earth's defenders were ready and waiting. "Signal from Admiral Cooper," the communications officer announced. "Operation Hornet's Nest is a go." Alan took a deep breath. "All ships, execute primary attack pattern." Across the solar system, human vessels emerged from hiding places. Small, fast ships darted from behind moons and asteroids, striking at the edges of the alien formation before quickly retreating. The alien fleet responded with disciplined precision, turning their weapons toward the attacks. But the human ships were already gone, vanishing back into the natural cover of the solar system. High Commander Zextral watched from his command ship as the strange attacks continued. These were not the tactics his advisors had predicted. "They are not defending their planet," he observed. "They attack without purpose, then flee." His second-in-command, a veteran of many campaigns, frowned. "Not without purpose. They test our responses, our weapons. They study us." Zextral considered this. "It changes nothing. Move the fleet forward. We will destroy their defenses at Mars, then proceed to Earth." Meanwhile, in Earth orbit, Maria Rodriguez prepared her Special Forces team. Their mission was simple but dangerous: board alien vessels and disable them from within. "The aliens expect us to fight like them," she told her team as they checked their equipment, "to use similar weapons and tactics. That's why they'll lose. Born and raised in the mountains of New Mexico, Maria had spent her life adapting to harsh conditions. Now she would use those skills in the void of space. When the alien fleet reached Mars orbit, they found minimal resistance. The human defense platforms fired briefly, then went silent. The aliens advanced, confident in their overwhelming force. "They surrender already," Zexatral said, satisfaction in his voice. As expected. What the aliens didn't realize was that the real defense of Earth wasn't in space. It was space itself, prepared by humans who understood their own solar system better than any visitor could. As the alien fleet approached the area between Mars and Earth, hidden devices activated. The carefully mapped magnetic fields of the sun were temporarily disrupted, sending waves of radiation toward the alien ships. Areas of space that had seemed empty suddenly revealed mines and automated weapons platforms. The alien formation broke as ships tried to avoid the unexpected hazards. Their perfect order collapsed into chaos. "Now," Admiral Cooper ordered from her command center on Earth. Human ships attacked from all directions, no longer darting away but pressing the attack. They targeted engine systems, weapons, communication, arrays, all the weaknesses Dr. Samantha Lewis had identified. On Mars, civilian pilot Paul Wilson led a group of volunteers. They had converted mining vessels into makeshift warships, using their knowledge of Mars's atmosphere to hide until the right moment. "Remember," Paul told his people, "we're not soldiers, we're survivors. We do what needs to be done." Their vessels, launched from hidden bases across the Martian surface, joining the attack. Aboard his command ship, Zexatral watched in disbelief as his carefully planned assault fell apart. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They have inferior technology, fewer ships." Before his officers could respond, an alarm sounded. "Sir, we have intruders aboard multiple vessels." Maria's teams had reached their targets. Using boarding craft disguised as debris, they had attached to alien ships and cut their way inside. Now they moved through the vessels, their bodies adapted to Earth's higher gravity, giving them strength advantages over the alien crews. "These are their warriors?" an alien officer asked as he watched security footage of humans moving through his ship. "They are so small." "They are Deathworlders," another replied fearfully. "Size means nothing." As the battle raged, William Harrison stood in the Galactic Council emergency chamber. The few council members still willing to listen watched the battle unfold on their monitors. "You see now what you have created," William told them. "Humanity asked for peace, for coexistence. Instead, you threatened our existence." Councillor Viernax nodded sadly. "And in doing so, we awakened something ancient in your kind. The ultimate survival instinct." Outside the chamber, other council members were receiving urgent messages from their homeworlds. News of the battle was spreading. Species that had never considered themselves vulnerable were suddenly afraid. The battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, the alien fleet was in retreat, leaving behind damaged and captured vessels. Human losses were severe, but Earth remained unconquered. In the aftermath, Captain Alan Peterson stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching as the remnants of the alien fleet fled toward the edges of the solar system. "Should we pursue?" his second officer asked. Alan shook his head. "No. Let them go. Let them tell the others what they found here." 6 weeks later, representatives from 32 alien species met with human diplomats on a neutral space station. The Galactic Council had been reformed, with many of its former leaders removed. "We seek peace," the new council leader said. "A true peace, built on understanding and respect." Admiral Cooper, now representing Earth, nodded. "Earth has always wanted peace, but we will never again allow ourselves to be vulnerable." As the negotiations continued, news traveled throughout the galaxy. Stories spread of the human defense of Earth, growing with each telling. How humans had turned their solar system itself into a weapon, how they had boarded alien ships with barely any protection, how they had continued fighting despite injuries that would kill most species. In distant systems, alien children were told to behave or the Deathworlders will come. Trading ships changed course to avoid human space. Military academies began studying human tactics. The galaxy had learned what humans had known throughout their evolution, that the most dangerous creature is not the strongest or the most technologically advanced, but the one that can adapt, that refuses to surrender, that will use anything and everything to survive. Humans had become the galaxy's worst nightmare, not because they wanted to be feared, but because the galaxy had given them no choice. A year after the battle, Admiral Cooper stood with Captain Peterson on the observation deck of Earth's new defense station. "We've received another request. For alliance," she told him. "That's 15 systems now." "Fear or respect?" Alan asked. "Does it matter? They recognize we're not going away." Alan looked out at the stars. "Do you think they'll try again? Try to destroy us?" "No," Cooper said firmly. "They understand now. The species that evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day for millions of years isn't going to be defeated by anything less than that world prepared them for." Out among those stars, the message was spreading. The Deathworlders of Earth had earned their place in the galaxy, not through conquest or cruelty, but through the ultimate achievement of any species, survival against all odds, and the galaxy would never be the same again.